Does your evaporative water cooler pan look like this? Or maybe even worse? What if you could turn your swamp cooler from this into this for less than a tenth of the cost of replacing it with a new one? Well, today I've got an easy DIY project for you. I'm going to show you how to rescue your rusty evaporative cooler pan from its watery woes. Hi, this is Steve DeMasi, and welcome to Uncharted DIY. Evaporative coolers, commonly known as swamp coolers, are fantastic, energy-efficient cooling solutions. But over time, their metal pans can succumb to rust. But guess what? I've got a cost-effective solution to breathe new life into your cooler pan. You see these rusty spots? Our cooler's been through some wear and tear after 20 years of use. But hold on, replacing it would cost well over $1,000. So why not fix it ourselves and save some serious money? I'll show you how. All you need is a couple of hours, about $100 in easy-to-find materials, and a sprinkle of patience for drying time. Now, before you dismiss those little leaks coming from your cooler, they might seem harmless, but over time, those drips can damage your roof and lead to costly repairs. So, let's dive into the restoration process. Remove any silicone sealant used to patch the pan, since paint and tape will not adhere to it. Next, give it a good wash and let it dry so you can see how much peeling paint and rust might be present. I used a cool cordless pressure washer from Hodo Tools, reviewed here, to strip the debris away, but a high pressure nozzle on a hose will help. Next, scrape loose paint and rust spots with a hand scraper. A cordless oscillating multi-tool with a scraper blade can cover large areas quickly. For tough spots, a bit of sandpaper or a wire brush can be useful. You don't need to remove all the rust, but make sure any peeling or flaking paint and loose rust is removed, along with any dirt, oil, or debris. Use a quality interior-exterior paint to touch up any rusty spots. I used 3 coats of paint to seal off moisture, and I applied it heavier in the corners near the water line. I didn't do the whole inside, only spots that needed protection. I also had some corrosion occurring on the side panels. I scraped and painted those too, and spray painted the inside and sides of the panels with the same paint used for the pan. The wire frames that hold the cooler pads were rusty too, so I gave them a few coats to keep them from getting any more rusty. I then used a color-matched paint for the outside. I had to give each whole panel a light coat because the original paint had faded over the years. 3 cans took care of mine, but your mileage may vary. Let the sprayed paint dry as per the instructions before applying the sealing tape. I recommend using Gorilla 4" by 10" white patch and seal tape, since it's twice the length of other tapes for the same price. 2 rolls covered mine. Apply the tape to a clean, dry pan, overlapping the tape by about 1 inch and extending it up the sides past the water line. My cooler required 4 strips down each of the 2 wider sides of the pan and 3 strips on the narrow side. I peeled back a portion of the tape liner to expose the adhesive, then unpeeled it as I applied it to prevent the tape from becoming unwieldy. Once a strip of tape was applied, I used the liner material to rub the surface of the tape hard to make sure it was well adhered, especially the overlaps. The tape is very sticky, so careful handling is needed to keep it from sticking to your hands or to the tape itself. And it cannot be repositioned once applied, so don't try to rush through this step. Where there are gaps in the tape coverage, I applied patches to seal them. The tape is stretchy enough to conform to the curves inside the cooler pan. This is already looking really nice, but let's apply the crowning touch. You might find a coating specifically for evaporative coolers in the hardware stores, but it's asphalt-based, and I had concerns about potential issues of toxicity. Gorilla makes a rubberized coating too, but they say they cannot guarantee non-toxicity when cured. Flex Seal specifies that their coating is non-toxic after a full cure, so they're my choice for the rubberized coating. It's also available in a spray can, but I can't say for sure that it could be applied thick enough to completely seal the cooler pan or hold up as well as the liquid. I know the liquid works and I'd recommend it. Here, I'm using clear Flex Seal because I happen to have a lot left over from another project. I would recommend going with white so it's easier to see how thoroughly it's being applied to make sure you don't miss any spots. To avoid a huge cleanup mess, I recommend disposable brushes. Allow the first coat to dry for the recommended 24 hours before applying a second coat. I used a bit less than half a 32-ounce can, but I find it's useful to have around the house, so I don't mind having some leftover. Let the coating dry for the recommended 48 hours before filling the pan with fresh water. The white surface of the pan makes it very easy to see if there's any dirt or debris that might be accumulating in the water. While I had the covers off the cooler, I took advantage and gave the blower wheel a thorough cleaning to remove accumulated dirt that can harden on the blades due to the moist air. I used a bottle brush and a shop vac. I replaced the fraying V-belt, oiled the blower wheel bearings, and replaced the drain plug. Then I filled it with clean, fresh water. Finally, I put in new Aspen Cooler Pads, replacing the synthetic pads I had been using. Even though the Aspen pads were much thinner, they made a dramatic difference in the cooling efficiency, lowering the temperature a full 5 degrees more than the synthetics. They do need to be replaced each season, but at $5 each, I'll trade frequent replacement for additional cooling anytime. And there you have it. Our evaporative cooler pan went from rusty to refreshed. In just a few simple steps, yours can too, and you can stay nice and cool, all without breaking the bank. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments and give it a thumbs up so YouTube will share this with more people. This is Steve, and thanks for watching Uncharted DIY.